Hey, I'm back and I'm gonna read what I wrote. Finally, I was reading it and I'm just like, oh, I have to continue to brush it up because there's a lot of things that may be a bit confounding, but hopefully I've been able to make it as clear and comprehensive as possible. So here we go. I was briefly watching a video yesterday on the topic of Israel and Palestine. An Israeli man was being interviewed about his racial and ethnic background, as he was apparently Ashkenazi Jew, Jews of Eastern European descent. What I found particularly interesting about the video was the number of white Westerners based off their profile photos on YouTube and the YouTuber providing the content, implying he's European and should therefore be living in Europe instead of Palestine. And while I agree, as I've made my stance pretty darn clear at this point on decolonization globally, including the US, I couldn't help but notice the contradiction at play. Here we have white people of European descent, individuals who are not native to the US and who are directly tied to the same structures of colonization or colonization that continue to displace Palestinians, making this claim. Religious differences aside, when it concerns the Israeli man, the irony is hard to ignore. Have these individuals ever taken a serious moment to dismantle colonial systems in their very own countries within the West? Or is that a conversation we're avoiding because of how much you, depending on who's listening, have benefited from that very system? If we're going to apply the logic of go back to where your ancestors are from, shouldn't that also apply to those of European ancestry descent residing in places like Canada, US, Australia, New Zealand, Caribbean places that have been colonized, and also Africa, Latin America, just about everywhere, right? Once again, we're seeing the West do what it does best: meddle in global affairs, play the role of the white savior without acknowledging how colonization still shapes the world today in their or your very own countries. The very powers and people that the West holds up as voices of morality and leadership are the same ones that have oppressed, extracted from, and destabilized communities of color for centuries, and continue to do so on a global scale. They only take action when it serves them or you, right? It depends who is listening, but this is the message. So the next time you want to preach, or if they want to preach Free Palestine, Black Lives Matter, or oppose the deportation of Latin American communities, who, by the way, lived in these regions long before your arrival or their arrival, as many are, most unless they have European, being Spaniard ancestry. We know that those that are being deported for the most part are indigenous. Those are the individuals that resided within the Americas historically, have been here since forever, opposed to those of European ancestry. So what I see is very little self-reflection or actual application of those values in everyday life. Because every opportunity you guys have had to make communities of color feel uncomfortable or as if they don't belong in native, indigenous land or territory, you without question have done, right? And naturally, this is once again a message for the white community that is obviously in and embodying a huge contradiction. So there you go. I just wanted to say that much.